Welcome to the Wrestling Is Real podcast, and this is a ridiculously busy Saturday night of wrestling. First of all, 5 title changes at Slammiversary Impact Wrestling. We're going to talk about that as a focus tonight. Plus, there's a few notable things that happened at AEW Collision, where FTR had a 2 out of 3 falls match that went an hour plus with Bullet Club Gold and Jay White and Juice Robinson. Hell of a match. To where they got to go extra time, and the second fall is made by FTR to go ahead and retain the titles in a really what an incredible that everybody's going to watch again. They're going to want to watch more of FTR and Bullet Club Gold because that's just good stuff. You can watch that all night long, and it was an hour. Couldn't feel like it was an hour definitely, but the thing was for me, it's tough to go and watch tonight because I had to go and watch Slammiversary as that was going on. And the truth was, it was also weird the timing watching tonight too, where when I'm watching the show, Slammiversary, I'm getting in the matches and I'm saying to myself, okay, at one point I'm catching the start of the match, right? And then we're watching the Ultimate X match going on with that. And they got through all the way to Scott D'Amore and Eric Young against Bully Ray and Diener. And that match ended at the same time as where we got here with FTR. Like, it was just so much going on at one time. But I'll tell you what, throughout the night, the title changes and who won them and what they became. We got to talk about that real quick and just make a point of it. So Kushida is now the ultimate number one contender for the Impact X Division title. And very well, he could be going up against Lio Rush, in a quick match, not much explained about why it was, but Chris Sabin was taken out immediately in one move before the match even started and showed a head injury, and that affected Chris Sabin to even put any moves together. And with that, Chris Sabin was out and Lio Rush wins the title. Not sure what all came from that, if that's just an injury angle to get him out because Sabin could not continue to run with the belt, but not what was explained as to what happened there. So we have to figure out what that's all about and what actually came about of it, but I'm not really sure what it was. But we know that Rush attacks Sabin before the match. The doctor urged Sabin not to continue, and then Rush still won the match with a spinning kick in the final hour. Not sure what that was all about and why. But they did that, and it was done that way, and okay, they decided to go that route. So not sure what to think of that part. And as for the night, they did have a couple matches to start off. Kenny King is now the new Impact Digital Media Champion. Okay, whatever. Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich. So it's the trope that we always see where in various times we'll see two people that are not well known together. We talked about this, and I think the crowd really did like Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich together. And they give them 9 minutes for the match, but they really want to go ahead and get across the fact that Killer and Masha, they're a good team together. One thing I also noticed for myself is this is where Impact Wrestling is ahead of the game, or just does a different and a better job with the knockouts. Because you see the variety of the knockouts that were out here tonight. And they had 3 matches on the card. 1 that was on the pre-show and 2 that were on the card itself. And, they were solid. Listen, for what it's worth, Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich had a good setup. Next division titles right here. You can see where Courtney Rush and Havoc and Jessicka Havoc are going to go after them now. Come after that if you want. Or whatever you want. But that team's good. And I like the difference that they have in those stars. NWA does a good job of having some real distinction, some real individuality with the stars that they have. And so I like all of that part. Now remember, there's still some people on the Impact Wrestling roster we haven't seen out there a lot of. But, well, it's really something I think that Tasha Steelz is going to make her way back. That's going to be great. And, there's just more there that looks really interesting. In the women's division, the Knockouts division is strong as always, and they missed nothing with Trinity being out there, and now she's part of that crew. And now she wins her own Impact Knockout World title. And there's some people on Twitter that are very happy about the fact that, oh, Mercedes Moné won the New Japan title over there. And then we see this here. It's great. So, like, all that said and done, pretty exciting to see happen. And it was done. And Trinity got done in pretty quick order over Deonna Purrazzo. It was a good match. It was 14 minutes. It was the match we wanted to go and see. And if Trinity's going to come in here, I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't get like the Christian Cage treatment where she comes in and she's crowned the champion when she finally gets a chance to go after the title. Because that's what happened here. We finally got to that point. It was eventually going to happen over there. That was all said and done. And then going on to the other matches, let's go back before. Okay. Scott D'Amore and Eric Young. This is one thing where it was well done. Okay, so Scott D'Amore, the Team Canada concept, a real heritage match. So you got multiple storylines to go in right here. So Diener and the Design, who took out Eric Young, who was part of Violent by Design, and Scott D'Amore and Eric Young as Team Canada, and A1 outside at ringside. And putting that all together was very nice. Very nice to see Team Canada back together and Team Canada winning over Bully Ray and Dieter. Like that. So the Leo Rush run, we're going to see more with Kushida, but there's got to be an explanation for Chris Sabin. I don't know what it is, but this is the decision they decided to go with. Okay, all right, fine. And then, kind of shocking that ABC drops the belts. Didn't expect that either because they've held on to the Impact Tag titles for a while now. Like, I'm trying to think, how long have they held those belts as of late? Let me go ahead and look real quick and see what the last time they actually, who held the belts right now. And the reigns right now. So ABC actually held the belts for 140 days. I thought it was a bit longer than that, but okay. Yeah, 140 days. And it's all set. And now we move along here, and it's Subculture. Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster are now your tag team champions. That's all there. It was a very good match, by the way, too. But there was a lot of people in that whole thing involved. You could always see where ABC can come back to go ahead and, get the rematch. Like, that would be an obvious thing there, and that would be good for them altogether. Eddie Edwards and Frankie Kazarian continued a storyline with the Color Kowalski tie-in with both of them. Tracy Brooks coming back out with Alicia to be, a little bit of parody. Fine. But Eddie Edwards he gets the win on this match, the rubber match here, and Eddie goes away with a win. Okay. And Alex Shelley over Nick Aldis. That was a surprise for me to see that happen, where I didn't know it was going to come from that. But when I look at what they decided to go and do, when I looked at Alex Shelley and the fact that he won the belt back, and I'm saying, okay, so Nick Aldis doesn't get the win here and is pinned clean, by the way. So with that said, Alex Shelley wins, and I'm like, okay, so what's next? What do you go with him? Because the whole idea of transitional champion, Nick Aldis said it in his promo leading up to the match. And Josh Alexander comes back. Okay. So if I try to figure out what the whole idea was from Josh Alexander being away for a while for his injury and having the return, not knowing when his return was going to be, you take a look at the fact that Steve Macklin could have very well been around. There was no plan, I guess, when Josh Alexander had to go ahead and drop. Him and Kushida went ahead and went up for each other that wasn't hard to kill, right? So they had that match. And so Kushida and Steve Macklin had that match for the world title. Macklin with a short reign. He's transitional leading up to Alex Shelley winning the belt. But that was the other thing. What was it? Macklin also got hurt. And then Shelley gets to go and have that match. And he gets to be the champion. And then you get to hear. And Nick Aldis still has to be in the picture. I mean, there's something about, if I wanted to see a match for myself, I want to see Josh Alexander and Nick Aldis at some point. I don't think you take Nick Aldis out of the title picture after this. But I don't know what they're going to do and what they plan to go and put all together for. But, surprising to see all these titles change. But I think Alex Shelley is not too long for this title run. Like, he's got it here. Strong win over Nick Aldis. And Nick Aldis not coming right back and coming in to be champ. That didn't happen here. But I just don't see Alex Shelley being, for a long, holding the belt. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Trinity probably will have a long run as champion here. Diana's got to get a chance to go back after it. And then who else do you have that will go ahead and take on Trinity? But they're going to keep that belt on her. I mean, for me, I don't see how there's not a long run with her at this time. So we'll figure that out. Now, Lio Rush, not mentioned too much, but very quietly coming into the space here. He's here, and I was already attacking Chris Sabin, leading up the storylines, leading up to the match. I mean, Lio Rush has always been very solid. I mean, you're getting someone that definitely was like the definition of the X Division in that real fast-moving kind of style. Let's see what they do with it. Let's see how they're going to work it out. I'm wondering if Eric Young is staying around or if he's just here for the one-off and that's it. So for overall, they did some good things tonight on the show. The way they set Alex Shelley and Nick Aldis in for the match, that was, I get the booking on that. And Alex Shelley and Josh Alexander should be a great match coming up. I just don't know what you do when it comes to Bound for Glory and how you set that up eventually. That's what I want to go and figure out soon enough. That's what I want to go and see. And Subculture, okay. Let's see how that works out. Let's see this here. That's interesting to me. Wasn't who I thought it would be, but I didn't think they were going to go ahead and let the belts change already. But they did. We'll see how that works out. That's how everything went for Slammiversary tonight. Now, in the meantime, as I'm recording this program, TripleMania 31, which is over in Tijuana tonight, they're doing a live show right now. There's matches going on for this week. And this is like ridiculous. Like, I got that and Collision to work on. So at the moment, TripleMania doing a great thing where they're actually working on things with having a lot of integration onto the card. MLW stars into the space. Well, MLW, I'm seeing Joe Dombrowski doing commentary on English commentary for them. And then I'm looking where Pentagon Jr. is over at AAA doing things with QT Marshall at ringside next to him. And you see Conan being involved. And you see all this. And on top of that, Willie Mack, who's with MLW. And there's a lot of stars you still see that will be over in MLW from time to time. And then in NWA as well. Because in NWA, you got La Rebellion, which is still the current NWA Tag Team Champions, right? And you had Camille, the Women's World Champion, out there tonight as well. Like, wow, that's some interesting stuff. Oh, no, excuse me. Pentagon and QT Marshall in a match tonight, ambulance match. That's actually going on as we speak, as I'm recording this. And then later on, if I get a chance, I'm going to just probably, pause the recording and then come back after I see two more matches on the card, which is Roche El Toro Blanco and LA Park versus Sam Adonis and Psycho Clown. Because now we're getting to the real meat of the TripleMania card to the main event. So there's that match, a tag team match, a Guerra de Rivalidades match, finals match, excuse me. And then El Hijo de Vikingo against Kenny Omega for the AAA Mega Championship. And Kenny Omega going after the Mega title. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So while I'm waiting for that, I'll get one more thing in before we get started to go ahead and talk about TripleMania. That is AEW Collision. So we talked about the hour-long FTR win over Bullet Club Gold. They can all continue to be going on with that. And tonight, Willow Nightingale and Ricky Starks collectively become the winners of the Owen Hart tournament, the women and men's divisions, which is nice. Two fresh new faces getting a chance to be put with the belts, the cups, and it's obvious that when they do this kind of thing that there is some significance that the Owen Hart tournament means when they get to this point. And the fact that Willow Nightingale beat Ruby Soho to win the cup, and Ruby Soho comes up short again. And Ricky Starks over CM Punk in a big win for him and the distinction. That's huge right as well. So let's get into the rest of TripleMania 31 Tijuana and what happened on tonight's program. So with that said, we're not going to go into the trios matches. There's a lot going on with that. For the fact that Tejano came back in and has returned back to TripleMania, or back to AAA anyway. QT Marshall and a very gruesome match with Pentagon Jr. in an ambulance match. Aaron Stallone out there. So yeah, AEW, when you think, when, QT Marshall, everybody wants to go ahead and complain about him and say, oh, well, what a stooge or whatever. He's like an AEW dark guy. In Mexico, he was hated. Quite the heel out there. And Pentagon Jr. getting ridiculously bloodied and mask broken and all this kind of stuff. It was a wild ambulance match. Rocio Toro Blanco and Sam Adonis, it's a draw. So the match never got into a finish. But LA Park, great to see him back. And the guy is ridiculous. He's doing like moonsaults and still shit. Like, I don't even know how that guy does it with the size of girth he is. He's 300-pounder, and that guy still moves around quite well. It's amazing. So Rush and LA Park, good to see the tag team. And actually, AAA Mega Championship. So they made the point of the match where Kenny Omega never lost the belt. So with El Hijo de Vikingo winning the AAA Mega Championship, Kenny getting his chance to go ahead and win the title back, what he never lost, or Vikingo legitimizing his win as champion. So he did that here. Good long match. And at the end, Kenny Omega falls short. By the way, one thing they did do, Don Callis still harassing Kenny Omega, coming out to the ring, only to be stopped by Conan and security to send him off. Just thought I'd make that point as well. So there you go. That's what happened tonight. A lot of things happening on the show today, man. This is crazy seeing all this on a Saturday. And I'm just finishing up right now at 1:20 in the morning. That's what, because of the fact that the Kenny Omega El Hijo de Vikingo match just ended right now. So that's your show for the night. That's the post show. And then we're going to probably try to do something for Ring of Honor's Death Before Dishonor next week, which we don't even know who's going to be on the card as of yet. We'll figure that out soon enough. It's crazy doing these Saturday night shows. Let me tell you that. This is like, there's a lot going on. A lot. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed Slammiversary. Hope you enjoyed AEW Collision. And I hope you enjoyed TripleMania 31 Tijuana. If you watched all those, I did for you. So come back this Wednesday. We'll talk more about everything going on. Wrestling is just going crazy and wild. A lot of different events going on. So we'll keep it there. Come back for another Wrestling Control podcast because wrestling needs us.